Yo, what's up guys, it's Volka and welcome to a new video. So today we have one more Hammered In build, or this is actually not a Hammered In because we're playing Void Knight but still using hammers on this build. But the main source of damage is from the Smite. So basically we're using Void Smite to do the damage and converting it to Void and then getting vitality scaling on the Smite also. So basically stacking vitality for damage and that's pretty much how you get your damage, most of it. So of course you need to have the chance to cast Smite when you hit with throwing attacks idols. So I would recommend you having 4 of these. Don't have to be max rolled, but I mean they are your main damage, so you need to keep that in mind. So this is basically a requirement of the build. So let's look at the numbers a bit. So stack up the sigils, of course, and then you can ramp up the hammers, use anomaly, volatile. So let's say we're hitting for like 200k, 300k, I think. Of course, you hit many times with this build. So these enemies are pretty small, so you don't hit that many times with the same hammer. So of course you proc more the more you hit. So on like big bosses, for example, you can do pretty insane damage with the build. But the damage is already quite nice. I'm not min-maxed on this guy, of course, but I have like pretty decent gear, just decent vitality here. I mean, missing a lot of damage from the other affixes, but nothing too crazy on the gear. You can get haste here on the boots also. Pretty much the only way you can get haste. You can use the experimental affix. This relic is quite nice. You know, you can get plus smite on it. You might even be able to use it without LP, but basically it makes it easy to cap your endurance and gives you damage also, lots of armor. So you have a lot of armor on this guy. Of course, capped block with the shield. And we even take some use of the void damage that you get from the Apocalypse buff. And I think for the amulet slot, usually you want to go for Bleeding Heart optimally, like Bleeding Heart with LP. So you want to have quite a bit of sustain for the shield degen as well. And then you can easily use Ravenous Void on this guy because you don't lose that much damage because you get vitality from these gloves also. So makes sense to use Ravenous Void. So even tankier with this. And then I guess the biggest new thing here on this guy is the Mad Alchemist Ladle. So you definitely want to have LP on this guy before you use it. At least 1 LP, and the spell crit has, like, at least you must have the spell crit on it. But basically it makes it so we get more spell damage per negative ailment on the target. So I mean, you can stack up to like 11 ailments on this build. So that's 88% more damage. Of course, you have way lower flat damage on this weapon, but we stack a lot of flat from the vitality already. So, and we even get some flat here on the tree. So basically, it's just basically more damage with this guy, as long as you have LP on it. So it makes a lot of sense to use this weapon, this wand, and also gives us like easy frailty. For example, here we don't have to build frailty. Get some armor shed. Of course, you need to keep in mind all of these elements on the weapon that say spell hit. They don't, your hammer doesn't apply those ailments. So, and like hammer applies ailments way better than the smite itself. So, having like armor shed on hit here, for example, on the suffix would be nice. So I'm missing quite a bit of armor shed because I don't have armor shed on my amulet either. So having at least like 1 armor shed affix would be nice. So you also apply high shred with the hammers. But yeah, that's pretty much the core idea of the build. Let's move on to some gameplay. So yeah, this is like 500 corruption, as you can see. Lots of modifiers here. So let's take one more HP mod, might as well. See how we do in the monolith. So for mapping this build is super nice, of course. Just like most hammer builds are really fast, really easy to play. Just just go and kill everything. And you're quite tanky also with this setup because, like I said, we have Ravenous Void, we have Max Block, so you're kind of tankier than usually on most hammer builds. And yeah, as you can see, damage is really nice, of course, as you might expect from a Smite hammer build. Nothing too crazy. I mean, you can't really use Shield Rush while mapping because you don't really have mana for it. So I guess that would be kind of like a drawback, but I mean, Lunge is also nice because you get haste more often with it, you know, because you have the haste on your boots after using lunge. So, and yeah, I mean, we're really just cruising, you know. And keep in mind, we have like a lot of modifiers here, also 500 corruption, so not really having any issues. Of course, if you use Ravenous Void, you need to have a cleanse on your belt, because you know you get the debuff here and you lose your leech for a while if you don't cleanse it. So I need to keep that in mind. So if you go low HP, always cleanse the Ravenous Void debuff after. So let's get some one more modifiers here and one more echo. So of course you buff up with sigils. You want to keep up the time bubble pretty much always, because gives us a lot of crit chance and stuff like that, you know, attack speed, even some leech. You don't really care that much about the anomaly itself, like hitting with the anomaly. We do get more damage with that on bosses mostly, so but keeping up time bubble is always important. Yeah, just cruising really. You might be thinking, should I play Nova Hammered In or the Smite Hammered In, or the Smite VK? I mean, well, the thing is, like, they are both good builds, but this, like, the best part about this build is that you can really do like really high boss damage on big bosses. So, for example, this boss in this this timeline, we can actually do this boss here. So you can see. So this boss is really big. So we hit many times with the same hammer. So we basically shotgun it down really easy. So you ramp up, as you can see, the damage starts to go up. So it's way easier to achieve high single target damage on big bosses with the Smite than on the Nova Hammered In. But if you have good gear on the Nova Hammered In, it's still, in my opinion, a better build. This kind of feels like this takes less gear to have like nice boss damage. Of course, depends on the boss. So something like Chuldra is really skinny, really small boss. So you only hit like once pretty much with the same hammer. So even with lower gears, their Nova Hammer feels much better and safer also on something like Chuldra. And yeah, I have a Shade kill here also. This is actually over 400% increased damage. Some HP also on the boss. So quite a bit of damage. So as you can see, damage on the boss is really nice, of course. So single target damage is really good on this build. Even though this boss is, you know, like a smaller boss, kind of a skinnier boss, we don't hit it that many times, but still we are doing a decent bit of damage. Kind of the same type of damage you could expect on the Nova Hammered In on a boss like this. So pretty similar to that type of damage. Lastly, we have T4 Lightest Arbor. For one more single target showcase. So this boss is definitely a bit bigger. You can see we're really like melting the boss. Really just really high damage. You should be rebuking this beam, by the way, of course, but I just went YOLO a bit and just tanked it. But yeah, that's like just really easy, you know. So for arbor farming, yeah, this is gonna be really fast for this. Alright, so let's get into the actual build guide itself. So, of course, I have this on Maxroll, full written guide. So, before we start, we have one new function or feature here on the guide. So you can click this planner here to open up the actual planner, you know, with all the stats and everything. You can even see the full set of like gear sets here. So best is all the end game, all that stuff. You can switch between them easily on the planner. So this is a new feature. You can kind of like delve into the build a bit more. You can open up the planner. But yeah, so full guide. As you can see. So let's start with the skills here. So hammer throw. Just basically our way of proccing the Smite. So going for the spiral, going for the extra projectiles, minus mana cost, orbit. You can also not use orbit if you feel like it, but I feel like having orbit is optimal most of the time, at least when clearing maps with the Smite hammer. So the hammers move with you basically. Then this increased crit chance and increased damage here works for Smite, so this is global, so that's why we take it. So this is 90% increased crit and damage for the Smite, and just like attack speed, some extra attack speed here. And if you're using Mad Alchemist Ladle, be sure to take 1 point here on the global ignite chance, so you get free ignite basically with 1 point. So that's only with the Mad Alchemist Ladle. And then on sigils, pretty basic setup. You know, just getting block chance, getting some increased damage, summon on kill, pretty usual stuff. Nice buffs from that one. And Smite itself, so make it a bit bigger. So yeah, this is a lot of damage. So 250% more damage, but you also consume HP with this node. So we have to take points here. If you want to be kind of like a bit adventurous, you could also have like 4 points only. So, but I like to max this out so we don't take any damage from this node. So yeah, I think just getting base crit chance, this is really important to pretty much always have to max this out, because that's like our only source of base crit. It makes it really easy to cap our crit. And then crit multi, some more damage here. These points also are in the game, so this also exists. It would be a lot of more damage, but you don't have points for it. You have to spend like 3 extra points here to even get to it. So sadly, we can't really like ever take these. But they are there, so they're kind of taunting us. And then on the volatile, just a basic setup. So we don't need mana from it. So getting the cooldown, more damage. So increased damage taken on enemies. Yeah, just attack speed, movement speed. Really basic setup. And then anomaly. So we're getting time bubble mostly. That's like the most important thing. Getting time bubble. So that's for the 150% increased crit chance. So this crit chance combined with the base crit on Smite, we're already like really high crit chance. Then you get the exalted crit on wand, and you don't really need much else. So really easy to get crit. So you want to get the time bubble is moving with you node here. So it actually does something, So you want to have that one. You can get some attack speed. So this node is important only for bosses. So you need to hit with the actual anomaly itself to proc this. So it's of course like a really small AoE on that one. So but gives you a lot of more damage. So 5 seconds of 100% increased damage taken. So basically double damage for 5 seconds. But that's only kind of like relevant for bosses. So but you want to use it when you're bossing for sure. And then the rest of the points, attack speed. If you need some cooldown, you can get some leech, depending what you have. And then for the passives, so starting with Sentinel, Strength, Vitality, Armor Clad, Block Chance, really basic stuff. And then for the Void Knight, so getting the HP, Void Rest, Physical Rest nodes, some leech. This is really nice, 6%. So this 6% itself is already quite enough, but if you can get the Bleeding Heart as well with some LP, that's really nice. You really want to have a lot of sustain for sure. Then some void damage and more void damage. So basically it's just flat damage for the smite. Of course the crit multi point, so per point in Void Knight you get crit multi for free basically. And keep in mind, if you're using Mad Alchemist Ladle, you want to be speccing at least 1 point here. In the future strikes you get 1 more ailment for Mad Alchemist Ladle. That's only with that weapon. And then the vitality scaling for Smite, so really important of course to enable the vitality scaling, and you max this out for the vitality as well, and then more vitality HP, then maxing out the echo chance. So of course echo doesn't work for the proc Smite, but it does work for the hammer itself. So you basically it's like more attack speed pretty much. So you have more hammers to proc more smites, but the smite itself does not echo. And then movement speed, void damage. This also is kind of like, it's not mandatory, but kind of like more defense. You can just throw 1 point here onto the void flux node. Basically sends all nearby enemies forward in time when you go low HP, but it's not like really that impactful, but it's just 1 point. Then on the paladin we need at least 15 points to unlock sigils, of course, so you should at least have 15, but usually you have 20 because you want to max out the spell damage with a shield node. So this is a lot of flat damage. And then just block chance, resistances. If you need resistances, you can get necrotic rest here. You can get elemental rest depending on what you need. Usually you don't need much of necrotic or poison because we have a lot of vitality, which also gives those resistance as well. So you basically get free poison and necrotic res from the vitality, and then just HP here, and 1 point here on the block chance in Forge Guard. And then for the gears, so most important thing to start out is to get, of course, crit chance on your gear and stack vitality. Get the minus mana affixes on your rings, so you can spam hammer throw easier without worrying about the mana cost. Get some attack speed, you know, of course get your HP and resistances capped, get armor shed, get a decent shield, because this is a lot of defense. And for the amulet, you can get pretty much any amulet base or any amulet as a whole. You can use Bleeding Heart here, depending what you have. I would use Bleeding Heart if you have it. Just makes it for gives nice sustain really easily, and then you can seal the flat spell void damage, for example. Here, really good low, like high value stat at low tier. Yeah, just getting vitality, armor shed effect, HP. You want to have a lot of crit chance, of course, on the wand. So this is really high value, the spell crits on the wand. Get some crit chance on the rings as well. So that is gonna be enough to cap your crit. When combined with Anomaly and the base crit on the Smite. And of course +2 Smite on the Relic is really nice for damage. And then on the endgame planner, so we're using Mad Alchemist Ladle on the endgame planner, so lots of damage from this wand. And like I said before, you should have at least the spell crit chance on it. So don't use this wand unless you have at least 1 LP with a spell crit chance, but hopefully even more LP than that, because it's not hard to get even 3 LP on the wand. So drops from the excellent mages, this wand only, but it's a pretty common item from them, and like pretty easy to get LP on it also. And then on the Bleeding Hearts, get some LP, HP, armor shed. On the shield, block chance, so really easy max block chance with this. Then we're using the relic, so +3 smite, really great. You don't have to worry about endurance with this, so getting basically free endurance cap just from this relic, and just like nice stats on it also. Ravenous Void, not mandatory, but if you have them, really great for the defense and also, you know, vitality as well. Then we're getting haste on the experimental affix here, so you want to be sealing the haste. Of course, every vitality stat is exalted, so getting HP and damage at the same time, and also free resistances from the vitality as well. So really great stat to stack basically. And exalted throwing attack speed here. You could also go, you know, exalted HP. So it depends what you have. Of course, you know, if you want to prioritize damage or defense, and the base ideally should be the vitality base on the rings, so basically free vitality from those bases. And I do have 1 mana regen affix on the belt here, so just makes for a bit like smoother gameplay, so you can kind of like just use your mana more freely, you know, with all the skills you have. But it's not mandatory, but it's nice. The cleanse is really important, of course, especially if you're using Ravenous Void, so you can cleanse the debuff when you go low HP. And the best in slot is basically the same, just more LP. Even 4 LP Mad Alchemist Ladle is realistic. So of course every ailment you add is 8%, you know, extra 8% more damage for every ailment you add. So really nice. And yeah, just more LP. You can get reduced damage taken on block here. You can get, you know, just a lot of stats on the amulet, for example, +4 smite. I mean, maybe if you happen to get Ravenous Void with 1 LP, you can get T7 hybrid HP on it. But yeah, that's pretty much the gears. And the blessings, so getting Void Shred, crit avoidance, armor, and block chance. And then this one, I'm using lightning res here, especially important if you're using this relic, because it just makes it easy for you to cap your resistance. But you could also use, if you don't need resistance, you could use the stun chance blessing, of course. But this is pretty nice, you know, you don't need to worry about the res. So yeah, that's the build. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more high quality last Epoch content, and see you in the next one.